All right, we are at lesson 50. Lesson 50 is, I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. So first, ask yourself, what sustains me? If not the love of God, what sustains me? What keeps me going? What motivates me? What animates me? If you're being honest with yourself, it's a lot of things. It's recognition, appreciation. It's medication, caffeine. What sustains you might be your relationship with your children. What keeps you going? And then if you dig deep into why that keeps you going, I'm sustained by recognition. I'm sustained by my title at work. I'm sustained by the money that I have in the bank account. Why does that sustain you? And what happens if all these things that are transitory, that are impermanent, disappear from your life? Then what? I'll tell you what. Here you are. You exist. The Course would call all of these different things that we believe sustain us false idols. And instead, it would ask that we consider that we are actually sustained by the love of God. That is a force that's working in our lives at all times, whether we know it or not, whether we are aware of it or not. But the recognition of this force is masked by all of these different things that we believe sustain us. Much of this is at the unconscious level. The Course asks us to bring to conscious awareness all of these things so that we can look at them and go, I know that this is not what sustains me. And we do what's called forgive these perceptions that we have of ourselves. You forgive these perceptions. That is what happens when the unconscious becomes conscious. The Bible says nothing will remain hidden. Nothing will remain hidden at all. Someone recently asked me, so how do I differentiate between the voice of God and the unconscious mind? I think this lesson speaks to that. The voice of God is something that you know. It's not something that you perceive through your mind. The voice of God brings a certain quality to your existence that is absolutely the opposite of what the ego's mind brings to you. The voice of God brings union, forgiveness, joy, peace. The unconscious mind, when you allow whatever is coming up to become conscious, reveals to you, even though it might be masked in something that seems good, it reveals to you separation. It reveals to you there's a me and then there's something else. There's a division between the two. It reveals to you fear. It reveals to you things that must be dealt with and reconciled in your life in order for you to have peace. That is what the unconscious coming to conscious awareness reveals. So as I've said in the past, perception comes from the ego, but knowledge comes from spirit. Spirit knows, the ego perceives. So perception, which is then revealed in the unconscious when it's made conscious, does not lead to listening to the voice of God through the spirit. But it will open the door for it if you allow yourself to forgive your perceptions, to see them as untrue. They may have a quality of truth to them in this world, Well, yes, I love my children. There's a quality of truth to that. And I'm not saying that the thought itself is untrue, but perhaps what you define as love may be colored by fear. I love my children, and the way I show that love may be in ways that are not consistent with love. So the ego is very sophisticated in trying to, bring about certain ways for you to confuse it with the voice of God. So be aware that as you reveal the unconscious to conscious awareness, and you allow yourself to realize that that is not fully true, it's not absolutely true, then you open the door to hearing from the place of peace and love and union, not from the place of separation, the voice of God, and therefore see that you are sustained by that love. That's lesson 50. I will see you tomorrow for lesson 51.